I cannot believe it's the end of the week. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing fantastically well. So I've been trading pretty much this week, trying to vlog and keep a daily record of everything I've been doing. It's been really slow for me. Example, there was a lot of trades probably on Thursday I could have got into, which I kind of held back on. Did one or two which actually did come and make profits, but not the profits I should have done. So ultimately, nowhere near as what I should have been. On the Fund Index Challenge, I'm 0.6% up on the week, which I think is okay. Normally I start off a lot stronger than that on some of the challenges, but then obviously tail off and make a lot of mistakes and end up being a negative. So I'm glad to be back in a positive and able to work through to the next week. Now it's Friday, it's non-farm payroll days, which to me essentially means don't trade. The reason why I don't trade on non-farm payroll days because it is a very high volatile news announcement coming out. We see a lot of sideways movement with people either closing positions, building positions. We don't know what they're actually doing behind the scenes. So a lot of sideways movement. Then when the number comes out, there's obviously always a massive spike in one direction, and it can do anything in the afternoon. We've no idea of actually what the report says. And that's the problem with people trying to trade non-farm payroll, is that it's always a gamble, it's always a guess on what they believe the initial figure actually means to the economy. Reality is, until you actually go through the entire report, read it, look where all the jobs are created, all the job numbers, the employment rate, etc., you get a bigger picture of where it actually leads for the economy. So I find a lot of people want to get involved in non-farm payroll because obviously it's a way of making big money very, very quickly because of the price moves. Reality is you can also lose money very quickly. So for me, it's protecting the capital, not trading and just sitting back. So my day is going to be predominantly is looking at strategies and back testing and see if there's any way I can improve on my current strategy for the upcoming weeks. So absolutely no trades for me whatsoever today. It's non-farm payroll figures. We are coming within 2 minutes of the actual release. So I've just shared my screen here. So we've got the four main things I'm interested in. So pretty much euro, pound, gold, and FTSE. You can see although there's a bit of movement here and there, it's not been significantly massive. Even if we look at where we are on euro dollar, these are 5-minute charts. Pretty much it's only been ranging by 7 or 8 pips over the whole day. So as you can see, there's been a lot of sideways movement. So really nothing for me to trade at all. So looking for figures come in the 218,000 jobs created. Now, based on the fact there's only 12,000 the previous month, looking to see potentially a big move, but this is where it's really unpredictable. We could quite easily place trades above the ranges and see how it breaks out from those, but the reality is we could easily get stopped out, so I'm not even going to place a trade to see what's going to happen. It's just too risky around this sort of news announcement. There we go. As we can see, massive movement. Let's see what the number was. Still waiting for that to come through, but who knows what it's going to be. So the figure is 227,000, so better than expected. So obviously seeing dollar weakness. We're seeing a lot of gains, especially around gold. But what will happen is we've got the unemployment rate not as good as expected. So we can see definitely 4.2% unemployment rate, so that's not great. We're looking to unemployment to come down, even though you've put on a number of jobs. So definitely want to see how this gets really digested over the next couple of hours. And that's why I do not trade non-farm payroll. These are just sporadic figures. Although, yes, it looks like it's moved up massively significant amounts. Take euro dollar as an example. Let's zoom in on this one, even go down to a 1-minute chart. That looks like it's a massive spike, which it was. And we can see that from where the original price, it did push up close to 22 pips. Again, not massive from what I have seen. I've seen over 100 pips moves on this before. But again, that's been retraced very, very quickly. So if you did have a buy order around that range, you could have been taken in and then stopped out before you even got filled on that price, because definitely there'd be a lot of people not getting filled at the price they want to. So we can see prices start being rejected at these levels. So really a case of just waiting and seeing how this does manipulate over the next couple of minutes as the traders start to divulge all the numbers and actually go through the full report, because it's not just the headline figure of 227,000. There are lots of things around how many jobs are created within each sector. We are seeing a lot of seasonality, and coming up towards Christmas, we might see a lot more in the retail sector. But if that isn't projected in the reports, then this could definitely see a reversal in a lot of the expectations. And once US comes online in an hour's time, then we could very easily see these prices push all the way back down or even into a negative on the day. So this is the main reason why we do not trade non-farm payroll. You can see basically this is obviously looking at euro. We saw price in a kind of a consolidation sideways range for nearly all of the day. It spiked all the way up to 1.063 and it's come all the way back down to pretty much where it started the day, and it'll probably be in a negative. We'll probably see some sell-off. And this will be the same if we look at pound dollar. You can see basically the exact same thing. We've been in a sideways range pretty much all the way since the beginning of yesterday, effectively. It's gone all the way through, big spike, come all the way back down. Now, if we look at the FTSE 100 on the 1 minute chart, you can see when the news came out, this bar in itself is below, so we kind of had a bit of a gapping there, which is quite unusual. But the price pushed all the way up, hit a high of sort of 8,350, and then sold all the way off down to 8,320. And only 30 points move, so not massive, but again, we're still seeing a lot of volatility, a lot of erratic price things. So I'm not interested in trading this. We're seeing in the afternoon, I'm not interested in getting involved in this one. Primarily because if I was to take a trade, it'd be a bit of a risk, a bit of a gamble, and based on that, I might have to hold it over the weekend, and we'll see even worse things on Monday. So we'll take a quick look at the end of the dashboard for the week. So looking at the dashboard here, I finished the week in a profit, 0.64% up, which ultimately is not brilliant, but when I was down about 1.5% beginning of the week, we've recovered that and actually got a nice profit. So I can't complain too much of that one. There were significant trades on Thursday, which I could have got a lot more out of, but I just didn't want to hold on for long enough to see them to the end. Some did return reverse anyway, and we've actually probably hit stop loss. Trading overview. So it's been a pretty good win rate, 81%, but because of that, the actual winning trades value-wise is not where it should be. There are probably 2 or 3 that would have hit 1 or 2%. Potentially, if I'd stayed on the short for Bitcoin longer, that would have hit a nice take profit for about 1.5%, 2%. So ultimately, yes, it wasn't where I wanted to be, but consistency and making sure I'm in the trade for the right directions, taking profits where I can, making sure stop losses in place so I don't get stopped out, and closing out when I feel there's going to be reversal. So yeah, not a bad week, but it could have been a lot better. So I'm going to wrap up for this week and come back on Monday and get some great profits for next week. Thanks for watching. Catch you again very soon. Cheers.